Well, hey, good morning. Thanks so much for joining us here on the Daily Brew. We got everybody on the couch today, right?
Busy day.
Yeah, busy week because it's the 4th of July week. I don't know, do people celebrate it? Do they say, like, it's the 4th of July weekend or the 4th of July week?
I was hearing fireworks last night, so I think people are
I think
celebrating
it's the week.
all
I think
week long.
people love an excuse to celebrate America, you know?
Yeah,
yes.
I'm totally in.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do it. All right, so we got some video for you today. That's a crazy video. Let's take a look at this. This was taken on board a Disney cruise ship, and it just shows like the heart-stopping moment that a father saw his daughter go overboard. He jumps in right after her. Witnesses saw everything. And Tiffany is surprised that like he treaded water for as long as he did.
I just think about like how hard it is to just like swim in an ocean in general. Mm-hmm. And then like you can't, there's no way you can touch out here, right?
Right.
Like there's probably thousands of feet below you.
Mm-hmm.
And you're treading water for 20 minutes while holding her. And they weren't even able, they threw life vest over, but
Yeah.
he wasn't able to get to them because he was so focused on like keeping his daughter up over the water. I don't know, it's just amazing to me. I think the adrenaline was probably going.
Yeah.
But it's just, 20 minutes is a long time in big waves in the middle of the ocean.
Oh yeah, I mean, because you know they need time to like lower those lifeboats and you know
They had to
get them
turn
in the
the boat
water.
around.
Mm-hmm. And you know that water, it looks relatively calm by looking at it here, but if you're down there on it, that's some rough, choppy water right
Well, when you
there.
think about too, when the boat turned around, it probably created a pretty strong wake
Oh yeah, for sure, because
that he was also battling. So, I don't know. I saw some interviews last night of people who were on the boat, and it was just, it's wild. It's so good that they were okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing. Just people were talking about like hearing the alerts on the boat and, you know, turning the boat around. They could hear the mom crying, like, because I think everyone kind of went outside to see what was happening, right? The mom was watching him there. You know, that's so scary from her point of view to watch her husband there holding the daughter, like, hoping that they can still tread water and get to him in time.
I wonder how she fell though. I guess the ship has plexiglass safety borders on the decks.
Yeah, that's what they were saying. So they weren't sure how she fell over. They said she was probably around 4 years old.
She's probably tiny.
Probably maybe got behind it, maybe tried to climb it. But you think about, for him to be able to grab her, I mean, the minute she started falling, he probably jumped in.
Probably because she would have sunk, went down, maybe floated for a second, but probably not long.
And I mean, that's good on him for the amount of attention he was paying to her, right? And so it's crazy. It had to have happened fast if he was able to jump in that fast and she was able to get overboard that fast.
Yeah. All right, so we all know, you know, those T-Rex costumes that people put on and they're funny because they just like, they make you laugh no matter what, right?
For sure.
They're just hilarious. Well, Auburn, Washington, they've got it figured out, hosting their annual T-Rex World Championship races where over 300 people compete. They break it down into women's, children's races and just go at it. I think it's hilarious. I wonder, I would be the first person to fall on my face.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm not a good runner to begin with. I don't even know if I would have made it to the finals here.
And these guys are parachuting in.
I know,
the
and then they're
costumes.
still running. That's just so impressive. Wow.
I was just thinking, like, seeing how slow it looked that they were moving, you realize how fast the horses are.
Yeah.
'Cause the horse could do that maybe in 3 seconds, and you see how long it takes you know, them to
Yeah,
run.
like 15, 20.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just wondering, like, what does training look like for a race like this? You know, they weren't just hopping on a parachute and like they're training for that.
Yeah,
And then
to run.
also, what do you win? Like, what's the prize? Is it worth it?
Right? I mean, I don't know. I think maybe just the fun of it.
Yeah,
is
I
the
mean, it
prize.
looks like a blast.
Right? I don't know. Okay. Have you guys heard about the Dutch fish doorbell, right? You know where this is from? Well, it's been turned off if you don't know about it, but it marks the end of this, of more than 3-month fish migration season in the Netherlands. So basically what it is an underwater camera stream, and it's a live video from a river lock. Now, when enough fish gather there at the gate, viewers who are watching it, they can ring that doorbell there to alert the lock master to open it and then let the fish pass on through and make their way to lay their eggs.
Yeah, more than 30 million visitors actually rang the doorbell more than 200,000 times for fish to go through. The fish doorbell will return to its 24/7 live stream on March 2nd, 2026, in time for next year's fish migration season. This is pretty interesting.
I
is,
love
is,
this.
Is that to go through the door?
Yeah,
Or-
to go through the door. So basically, it's just sort of like an underground tunnel thing, and they set it up so people like engage, right? So as the fish go under, there's a gate they can't get through, but you got to watch it, and you got to push the button, alert the guy, say, "Hey, let them through." He'll open it, and they'll go and they'll migrate to lay their eggs.
That's pretty cool.
That is
So
cool.
yeah, I love it. So March, you got until March to get involved.
There we
again,
go. Hey,
right?
they'll be here before we know it.
All right, let's talk about this legendary partnership that's come back around. Tony the Tiger.
I love him.
And skateboard icon Tony Hawk. Do you remember?
This is like my childhood right here.
Yeah, because in the 90s they did that whole stunt double TV
Wasn't
ad
he
or
the one
whatever.
that was like, they're great? Was that him?
Yeah, Tony the Tiger, they're great, yeah. But this collaboration is for the launch of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater video games featuring tiger-themed gear. So they're back together after more than 30 years.
Tony Hawk was like quite the icon when it came to skateboarding. Isn't he the one that kind of really made it a big deal?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, I guess skate.
And there was a guy named Ryan Sheckler, is that right?
Mainstreamed it.
Ryan Sheckler, was that one of them?
I believe so.
I remember thinking he was cute as a little 7-year-old.
Yeah, Tony Hawk, he's still a legend. Like I can't even skateboard now. I can't imagine that he's still nailing those tricks.
Does
at
he
his
still
age.
skate though? Like compete
I'm sure.
skate?
I don't know
Not
about
compete,
competition,
yeah.
but he's still doing it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and I mean, the Tony Hawk Pro Skater game franchise was such a big deal
Yeah.
for my
It was a
childhood.
big deal.
So.
I just remember, okay, the reason I feel like I knew Tony Hawk, he was on all the Disney Channel, Nickelodeon commercial shows. But then too, what was it? Tiger Beat magazine? What were those magazines?
Tiger Beat, yeah.
Tiger Beat. And they'd always have Ryan Sheckler in there. That's how I knew who he was. But then they'd have to talk about like Tony Hawk because he was the really good skater,
He
right?
was like the 90s, early 2000s guest appearance on everything.
Everything, because he was so impressive and he could pretty much do his tricks anywhere. All he
Yeah.
needed was a skateboard. And so I think that's why people loved him so much and had him on so many things. And you think too, this was really before social media, phones, like everyone was just tuning in to like get this entertainment. You couldn't just get
Yeah.
on TikTok and type in skateboarder and then see all these tricks, right? Like
Yeah.
you're having to tune in at this certain time on TV to see it. The best was when you would record things on the VHS tapes.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Like,
Yes.
I recorded the Burning Up Jonas Brothers music video.
Hitting the
and I'd
play
go
record.
watch it every week because it premiered after one of the High School Musical movies.
All right, did you ever record like off the radio though? On the cassette tapes? Like you would hear a song come on the radio and you hit play record?
No, I think that was a little before my time, but
Yeah.
I do remember ringtones were so expensive. Do you remember
Yeah.
this on the
Oh,
phone?
yes.
And like if you hit the web on your phone, like it was going to cost a fortune. Like parents freaked out because I had a
Yeah.
little Go phone as my first phone for like 4 years. So if I clicked on that, that was like $20 right there.
Yeah.
So I remember my ringtone was Because of You by Kelly Clarkson. I was allowed to buy one.
One.
But then you would record them. Do y'all remember that? You'd start recording them and you could like kind of hijack it
Oh,
and do
yeah.
that as your ringtone.
Oh yeah.
That was the good
I used
times.
to have friends who would like burn me CDs, you know?
Times used to be simple. Good times.
But now we just pay for Apple Music and it's all
But
right
I
there,
miss
right?
the work for it. Don't
Yeah,
you
you
miss
just-
the work for it?
No.
I remember when you mentioned like having to record. I remember rushing home from. It was some sort of practice for like
And
the
then DVR.
premiere. Well, it was
DVR
for
was
the
a big
premiere
deal.
of like High School Musical 2.
Yeah.
We had to rush home for practice, and then we missed it. And then
yeah.
like Hannah Montana was premiering right after.
I remember when High School Musical 1 came on, it was a big deal because we had dance practice on Friday nights and it aired on a Friday night. So we went to the friend's house because not everyone had a DVR. You had to be fancy to have a DVR then. We went home to her house after to watch it after dance because we
Yeah.
couldn't miss it.
Yeah.
Oh, times were good then. I miss
Now
it.
you just log into your streaming app and it'll be on there
I don't
or it's
appreciate it
online.
as much. I really don't.
Yeah, kids today, they don't understand that the TV static, you could actually feel it.
Yes.
They just don't get it.
Yes.
And honestly, I'm glad that we grew up in that era because I'm on my phone so much now and I'll catch myself like, why am I on my phone so much? I'm
Oh, our
wasting
childhoods
time.
would have been completely different.
Like I loved going outside and playing
Yeah.
and figuring things out and you know, you were calling on the home phone, hey, can so-and-so come over, like the neighbors?
We wouldn't be the Joe Ellison or Tiffany Lee we are today.
Or the Jacob Luthi and Joshua Weisel.
Yeah,
Yes.
those guys over there. All right, so let's talk about this adorable black bear, which acts like a typical toddler. Now, this is all under the care of his faux fuzzy foster family. So what happens here is they're humans dressed as bears because bears are impressionable, right? So they're protecting it actually from imprinting on a human. It was abandoned by its mom and brought to this wildlife center here. The suit is bear scented and they wear a mask and even leather gloves. So it's a giant stuffed bear surrogate so they can return it to the wild.
I love baby bears. I think it's always the scariest animals that are the cutest babies.
That's a little scary though, right?
I was just gonna say.
They're
I was
always like little baby lion, you know, like the most ferocious animals are the cutest when they're babies.
I know.
That's a little scary though. That is not cute.
I was looking at that. I was like, what's so? I'm like, okay, the baby bear is cute, but the people dressed up, I feel like there could be a different way. I don't think.
If you needed scary Halloween costume inspiration, here it is.
Borrow the suit, maybe.
And you can carry a little teddy bear with you.
Oh my goodness, but they're adorable. And I like that they're putting such an effort into returning them back to the wild, you know?
Yeah. Well, and I think too, like bears are meant to be in the wild, right? And so it's like, it would be easy to like kind of keep them. They're so cute when they're little and raise them up because you have this bond with them as a person, but the fact that they're really kind of training them to go out there.
Yeah.
And to giving them, I feel like the experience that like they have a mama bear, you know, they feel like they have that. I feel like is a bond that is so important to bears that it's good they have that.
Absolutely. All right, well, let's talk about Connor Sonnenberg. He was a car detailer from Liberty Center, Ohio. He restored a 1975 hot dog-shaped boat and nicknamed it the Edmund Glisgerald, like the Edmund Fitzgerald, but the Glisgerald.
I know where I'm going to be on the 4th of July.
I know. I hope this is out on the 4th of July, right? They need some American flags hanging off of it.
Absolutely.
I feel like a hot dog is really like, you think about American food, and I think hot dog and hamburger is about all we have.
Yeah.
So we just need a hamburger boat right beside it on the 4th.
Well, except for here on the morning show, because on Friday on 5 News this morning, we're going to cook burgers, but you know how we do
burgers.
it? We put a fried egg on top of
Maybe
it.
a little bacon too.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Y'all are gonna enjoy that one.
Yeah?
Yeah. Well, wait,
Jacob's a little scared.
Are you going to be here Friday?
No, Friday I might be in Greenwood.
Okay, we'll have to save you guys.
we'll
We'll save you a
Yeah,
burger
save me
with
some
an egg
burgers
on
for
top.
burgers.
For sure.
We're great cooks.
All right, well, he went viral, this boat, on TikTok and Instagram, gaining over 21 million views. So all we need is a hot dog boat.
That's right.
I
Now,
guess.
the one bad thing about this boat is you can't take anyone in it with you.
Yeah,
like it's
but
just him, which is fun.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like I'd
you
want
want to take someone on the
I
ride
wonder
on
if
the
you can
hot
lay
dog.
out on the top of the little bun there.
Why not?
Get some sun.
Why not? All right, let's take a look at this. A roof in Georgia has been pierced by a meteor, but more than 200 people across half a dozen southern states saw this streak across the sky, so they weren't the only one there. NASA believes it was remarkably bright. Thankfully, no one was hurt. So I
Wow, that's
wonder,
wild.
have you guys heard about this?
I haven't
But
heard
I'm just
about it.
happy someone got it on
Oh,
camera
my.
because whenever you see these videos, sometimes everyone says they saw it and then the camera's
no
always
proof.
there's no proof. I'm happy that we see it actually falling.
That is the one
Yeah.
good thing about today's day and age. Also a little scary is someone is always recording for some reason, it feels like.
Right, it's
Where
like,
they
how did-
always
that had
catch
to be-
these
that had
things.
to
Where
be
back in the day, it was just, you talked about it. Like there was
Yeah.
no really proof of anything until maybe the after effects. There was no video before.
They had
Yeah.
to see that so quick, turn on their phone, and you said it went through the roof?
Yeah, it went through the roof of the home in Georgia. Yeah, and before the phones, I mean, you're just a conspiracy theorist person who saw it.
Yeah.
And you gotta
So-
hope that someone believes, like, hey, there's this.
Times are more exciting than that.
I know, right? What are we doing? We're trying to go back in time. Let's not
Yeah,
do
we
that.
are.
Have to explain to insurance. You're like, I swear that the hole in my roof.
I
was
didn't
from
do
a
that.
meteor.
I did not do that. That was not a cooking accident. That was
You know, which is crazy because I would say even 10 years ago, 15 years ago, because I've been in news a while, we used to have insurance companies call the newsroom,
Really?
ask to talk to the meteorologist because they wanted to confirm, like if someone was making a claim, you know, on their vehicle for storm damage,
that's
they would
wild.
confirm through us.
That is really
I know,
wild.
right?
Man, meteorologists were really making a difference out there helping people get those claims.
They were.
I'm sure there were a few times they were like, that did not happen.
Right. Sorry, can't confirm.
That is wild. I guess too, like they at the time, like news was the only source of information. So you had all the calls coming in from police stations, things like that. So I bet a lot of people came to news.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's
And out of this,
wild.
over this past weekend, Saturday, Sunday, I'm not really sure, but South Dakota, have you seen the video of Okay,
I
the
have.
video
This
coming
is
out of here is absolutely
wild.
amazing. I can't believe
It doesn't look real.
this.
No, it doesn't.
Like it looks like a green screen.
It looks like AI.
It
Yeah.
really does. And 2 injuries, no fatalities, thank goodness. I mean, this thing is huge. I don't know if it was connected. I don't know if it was real, but have y'all seen the pictures that have gone viral of this couple of storm chasers where he supposedly proposed in front of a tornado over the weekend, and it looked like this one because it didn't look real.
Right.
I could tell you just based off of Twitter that is not the first time that's happened. In Oklahoma, I will see probably hundreds of proposals in front of a tornado.
I bet
Yeah.
that's that's smart. That's the fastest yes you're ever gonna get.
It's also incredible.
Or
I'm like,
no.
I don't want to die with you. Let's get out of here.
it's always incredible to me. I'm like, the fact that you just perfectly timed that, it's like, I have to imagine that there was a couple of takes before that they were like, okay, this is the storm, and then it wasn't. And then you get this, which I love tornadoes. Not when they hit anything.
I
This
want you
one's
to propose
perfect.
like that. We're gonna stay tuned.
That would be cool someday.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, just be like, okay, follow me. We're gonna go to 60 storms probably, and eventually we may catch something.
And are
Man.
they're still in tornado season up in?
South Dakota?
Are we
Yeah.
still technically?
Yeah, so the cool thing about the cool, not cool thing is, Mother Nature doesn't have a calendar. When we get to summer, the jet stream goes more to the north. So that's when our northern states end up with all of these risks. And then we're clear, and then we get these little sporadic ones in the summer. But when we're in the spring, the jet stream's further to the south. That's why we have the activity. So when it moves up to the north during the summer, we kind of see that shift up to the Midwest, the northern U.S. And then once we get back to November, it starts to shift back south, and then that's our second season. So
But not impossible, right? Because I mean, I've been around here where we've had tornado warnings in October.
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And-
I've covered tornadoes in October. I think
Yeah.
what was that in 2019 in Salem Springs that
Yeah.
time?
Absolutely. Summer brings its own characteristics. Oftentimes, if we get like tropical systems in the Gulf that make their way up to the north, it leads to spin, and then you get more activity in the summer. So it's not entirely out of the realm. And like we tell people, it doesn't just happen in spring. We've had tornado warnings in January sometimes. So it's
Yeah.
like, every season has its own dangers that come with it. But that tornado in particular, just beautiful that it's in an open field and
Yeah.
hopefully
Okay,
not
but
leading
question
That
for you about it.
footage
Have you
amazing.
ever seen a tornado like that? Is that a specific name of tornado?
So that one, it's incredibly common in open fields like that. That is, I think based off of that video, yeah, we usually call that a cone tornado just because it's more of that normal shape, and you can see it's got a lot of condensation. Not the dirty giant tornadoes, just because there's not a whole lot of dirt. There's a dirtier look to it, as you can see all that debris getting scattered
Well, and two,
around it.
it's in the daytime, which a lot of them. I mean, they'll be either be rain wrapped or happen in the dark. But this one, broad daylight.
Oh,
And
yes.
I guess we kind of want the daytime one just because it's easier for people to kind of get out of
yeah.
the way and know what's going on.
Absolutely.
It's much easier. Unfortunate for us, we always typically get the rain wrapped
night.
at 3 in the morning,
Yep.
and then we're up all night for 8 weeks straight. It's like, I wish if we had stuff like that in the midday, it would be a lot easier for us to not only warn people, but also just to cover
Well, I
them.
think, that Little Rock one that happened in the last few years, it was in the middle of the day, which I think is why so many things were avoided, right?
Yeah.
Because people were able to take cover and they knew what was going on. So it definitely does make a difference.
Oh, yes.
Well, let's talk about 4th of July because that's coming up. It's 4th of July week. We're celebrating in America. What's that weather looking like?
Well, for your 4th of July, it actually looks pretty good. Now, the models keep going back and forth on whether or not we're in the lower to mid 90s for Northwest Arkansas. So right now, the forecast is calling for 92, but I would encourage you stick around throughout the next couple of days. We'll have the latest information there. Record high last year was 99. The good news is it doesn't look that hot, but it looks beautiful. Last year, we had all those thunderstorms. I think there is a very low chance for a pop-up in the afternoon, but not that widespread, jumbled up mess of thunderstorms last year. I had a pretty cool video where fireworks and lightning were happening simultaneously. I don't think we're going to have that this year. 95 is the current forecast for Fort Smith coming up here on the 4th of July. Beautiful sunny skies, can't rule out a shower or two across the area. Next 7 days look pretty repetitive as we have low rain chances every afternoon going forward. And then it's for one of those little isolated pop-ups in the afternoon. Fantastic weather coming up for the 4th of July weekend. Now, it's going back and forth with maybe a little bit better rain chances Sunday afternoon, but I wouldn't cancel any sort of plans so far just because we're going to have sunshine. It's going to be hot and humid. And right now, the rain chances don't look widespread or like they would completely wash out anything, cancel plans, anything like that. So enjoy the holiday weekend. It's finally coming up to the 4th of July. Weird to think that we're already into July already.
It's
so
wild.
No, where to go? I don't know. All right, but make sure you tune in here tomorrow. We'll see you for the Daily Brew.
7 a.m. See you then.